Hey folks, Steve here, and welcome to another devlog for Project Hestia, a base building automation strategy game that I'm working on in my spare time. For the past couple of weeks, I've been working on the technology system, so research and technology unlocks, so I'll be showing that off in a bit. Since the last devlog, I worked a bit more on the saving and loading system. So now, when I enter play from the main scene, it will load up the last save game that I had, which means testing it is a lot easier. So I can just jump in and see my factory already here, with my new research building that I'll talk about in a bit. And that makes it a lot easier. So now I've got quick save and load last save, and that's all tied in. So every time I exit, so if I build let's build an extractor over here, and then I leave play mode, and then I re-enter play mode, then as soon as it's loaded in properly, you can see that they're all there, which makes it so much nicer to just jump in and jump out, fix a couple of things, and play around. So it's reducing the amount of time it takes me to do stuff, because I'm not fiddling around so much with loading up files. Another thing I changed was how dialogue appears. So each dialogue now has a target, and an icon will appear in the world over that target. So if I click on that icon, then the dialogue appears. And I also moved the dialogue over to the right hand side, because I was watching a video by the Disco Elysium devs that were talking about how traditional RPG dialogue, where it appears at the bottom of the screen, it's kind of cuts away some of the frame and you can't really see what's going on, and how people read is a lot more towards the bottom right hand side of the screen. So it sounded like they'd done a lot of research, so I basically copied what they'd done. So we've got like a kind of history of what's happened. So it's a little bit more easy to follow what's going on. So you don't just see the snippet of conversation that you're viewing right now, but you see the entire conversation, and you'll be able to scroll through the conversation when it gets a bit too long. So I quite like that change. The rest of my time has been spent working on the research system. So there's a new building type in the game, which is a researcher. And if you click on the researcher, you'll get this research screen, which works kind of the same way as an assembler, except you'll be able to select from available types of research. And they work a lot like recipes, except the output isn't an item. The output is research points. So at the moment I'm taking in processed iron here, and I'm outputting mineral research. So if I close that screen, and then I press T or hit the technology button on the left hand side, then I can see the technology screen. So the moment I see all my mineral research down at the bottom right hand corner, and I've got all the unlocks that I have, so the technologies. So at the moment I've just got 4 in here. I've got the extractor first level, and then a tier 2 and a tier 3 extractor. And I've also got transport with like a warp gate in tier 3. So I added a kind of fake stuff at the moment. And then what I can do is I can spend when I hover over, you can see the costs of so to unlock this, it costs 10 mineral research, and it unlocks a extractor. It should say extractor level 2 and 3, but I don't have those at the moment. And then, so if I want to spend that, I just hold down the mouse button, and that unlocks that. So you'll be building more researchers. So some researchers can research, some research buildings will be able to perform certain research tasks and generate certain specific types of research points. And then you'll be able to spend those on technologies. If you are familiar with Factorio, think of research points as being your red, green, yellow flasks. And instead of needing to transport those flasks into another building, you can just go to the technology screen and use those directly, and you can spend them on whatever you want. And the idea is for like higher level stuff to take more types of research. So you might have mineral research, but you might also have tier 3 research or warp research or like advanced technology research. So I haven't quite figured out all the different types that I'll have in the game or how many types, but I've got this nice system that seems to be working at the moment. And I'm quite happy with the layout of this screen. So it's kind of echoing some other games where you've got tiered research. And the idea will be also that some technologies will also have prerequisites. So you need to unlock extractor level tier 1 before you get extractor tier 2. And then on the back end, we've got a scriptable object, which is the technology. So we've got the display name and description, which tier and category it's in, then which costs it has, and what it unlocks. So this unlocks an extractor, the extractor recipe, and the extractor item type. I put in a warp gate just for fun, but that's a kind of placeholder at the moment. And then we've also got the research items, so I can say what inputs they take, so different item types, and also what research points you get from them. So you might have one building that takes a lot of different manufacturer types, so like cogs and screws and other things, and outputs a different type of research for mineral research. So I'm in the process of trying to figure out what kind of research points I have and exactly what the tech tree will look like. So what layout it'll have and what items and buildings and construction processes there'll be in the game. So that's all up in the air at the moment, but it's fun to kind of think about those things. Last week I also took part in a game jam, and the result of that was a fully complete game with music, sound, everything from scratch. And it actually taught me a lot of lessons. And one of the major things I learned is that I need to be taking sound more seriously. So I've been jumping into FL Studio and trying to play around a little bit with that. And this is a terrible song that I've just made, but it's the basics. At least it's a song, so I'm getting started with that. So yes, currently the music is a bit rubbish, but I'm learning and we'll see how far I get with that. And that's everything I have to show for this week. I will be going down to one devlog every 2 weeks from now on because it was a bit too much work to do it every week. But I hope to keep showing progress and keep making like incremental improvements to the game as I go along. The next video will hopefully be about the building system, so building on top of foundations and adding walls and ceilings and layering out buildings. So hopefully I'll see you then. Bye.